let us do a chat storm. Why do you think social accountability is part of the RIFSA? So go ahead and type this into your chat. Don't press enter yet. Consult with people around you if you need to. If you've never heard of social accountability before, that's fine. Put that into your chat. But I'm going to give you another 10 seconds or so. And let's go ahead and put it into the chat. Why do you think social accountability is part of the RIFSA? All right, everybody get ready to hit enter. 3, 2, 1, enter. Ooh. It's fun watching everything scroll up really fast. Oh, we hit a lull. Come on, let's go, folks. Ownership from Johannes. Ensuring transparency, sustainability. Sustainability has come up quite a bit. Definitely. Meaningful partnerships. Yes, absolutely. So keep this all in mind because we are going to come back to it and keep on typing in the chat. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about social accountability. Exercising power, good answers still coming in. This is going to be great to come back to and reference. Now, I know that there are some experts on social accountability in this session because you are part of the RIFSAs. Govinda, my colleague, is a technical expert in his own right. And so bear with me for some of this very simple unpacking. My apologies to you. But we do want to spend a few minutes on kind of the basics and foundations of social accountability for 2 reasons. The first reason is that not everybody is an expert. Some people have nutrition expertise, food security, WASH expertise. Some people have governance sector expertise. So what we want to do is, for those of you who are on the RIFSA projects and you have to implement social accountability, it is often cross-cutting. So it's really good that your colleagues appreciate this background. And that's one of the main reasons. And just want to appreciate those who are responsible for implementing social accountability because we know it is challenging. The second reason is that social accountability is listed as part of PSNP 5 as one of the ways to drive timely, responsive, effective services. So again, it's really good to have some foundation. Now, just like social accountability, there is not a single just like community engagement, there isn't a single definition of social accountability, but I've put the World Bank's definition there, which is social accountability mechanisms refer to a broad range of actions beyond voting. That is for citizens, communities, and civil society organizations that they can use to hold government officials, bureaucrats, and other duty bearers accountable. So don't worry about memorizing all of that. There's not a quiz, and we are going to unpack some of that together right now. All right, so let me see if I can get this to move. It moved too fast. All right, so going into social accountability, let's deconstruct it using some visuals. So let's go back to when we were students studying civics. And we also know this because it is every day all around us, because all of us use services. There are citizens, and then there are their governments. And that arrow denotes that there is a relationship between them. And the substance of this relationship differs based on context, and it's in different countries, also in the same countries at different levels, at subnational or national level, or communities, from village to village. So this relationship really looks different based on where you're working and where you're living. Strengthening the relationship is the focus of many of governance approaches, including social accountability. So One of the things that you're very familiar with is you pay taxes. And a key aspect of this relationship is about services. So citizens and others like organizations and companies pay taxes and fees for goods, services on income. And then the government takes those taxes and they put it towards basic services like road construction, making sure that there are key roads that and highways and all of those things that you see. So basically, this is very fundamental social contact theory. If you want to go back to your elementary school days, now some services the government provides directly. For example, basic education, healthcare, public safety, such as firefighters. And this again differs based on where you live. Government workers are also known as public sector workers, and they often provide these services directly. Now, sometimes the government, there's not always just two actors, there are service providers. So the services are provided through other actors, such as private sectors, organizations, or hybrid. The government might contract something out and provide policies and regulations. And there really are multiple models in communities all around the world. So the government might use a service provider, and maybe there's a government-supported mail service. Or it could be, depending on where you live, they contract out some construction, or it could be, for example, cell phone services. I know this isn't the case in Ethiopia so much, but are largely provided by the private sector in many countries. So here's a question, and put it into the chat. Which path does PSNP services take, PSNP 5 services take? Path 1, where the government is providing basic services directly, or path 2, where they go through service providers to provide services? Go ahead and put into the chat. Path 1, both. Go ahead and put something into the chat, because there is actually not a wrong answer. All right, can I ask one of the people who said both to unmute yourself and explain why they chose both? What is it about PSNP? Yes, Lucy?
Yes,
please go ahead.
Thank you. As we all know, PSNP is a joint program being implemented by both NGOs as well as government. So whatever service that we are providing to the communities, we both of us will be accountable to the service that we are providing. So it is a joint kind of accountability issue. Even in our PSNP4, that has been exercised in different DIVSA intervention areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucy is correct. The reason I say there's no wrong answer is because it's true. Obviously, the government provides maybe the cash transfers. NGOs are providing the livelihoods plus services and the food assistance. So really, this is very common. In my neighborhood, I have to get a private contractor to pick up our trash because we have 6 units in our building, but my next door neighbor has 1 family in 1 unit, so the city picks up their trash. So this is also very common. And let's take a look at the governance triangle. So this is a tool that you can kind of look and see where certain things might fall. So for social accountability, the work is very much centered on building the capacity of the citizen and communities portion of this triangle. So if you're doing, for example, focusing on government, which a lot of development programs do to strengthen systems, they'll do institutional capacity building for government workers and public sector workers, like teachers and health workers. Those are also important. So different RIFSAs and contexts will have various activities around this triangle, and this will help strengthen the systems. You just have to contextualize and focus in on what activities are most appropriate for your project, where you can make the most impact based on your theory of change. So now don't worry about reading everything here. Usually when we have more time, we kind of go through some of this together in exercise, but this is just various activities around this triangle that different projects do. And this is kind of an illustration of that around the governance triangle. For now, don't try to read everything, just take it in. There are a lot more arrows in this. I just got tired of writing the slide. I just got tired of all of the arrows, so I stopped. And remember, again, what we said about the activities you choose and what impacts you want to really maximize. It's based on your theory of change, and enable environments for different Corbeles and Woredas and projects will be very different. But it might be that maybe you want to choose to focus on getting more information to communities on their entitlements under PSMP 5. So that will be that arrow, for example, that goes from right to left. So that's one way you can use the triangle. Just kind of going on, that's a lot. So just 3 practical points to remember. You want to, for PSMP, for RIFSAs, I mean, you want to remember this, you want to pick on public sector and public interest. So if there's a company, a private sector company offering some service and it's much more about customer satisfaction, but it's not really about public sector work or public interest work, that's probably outside what a RIFSA would do. You want to focus on improving services. Improvement could be in access, delivery, inclusion, and you really want to foster constructive relationships for action. This is building those transformational skills that RIFSAs do, such as networking, facilitating, negotiating, advocacy, mobilization, communications, those kinds of transformational skills that we want to see.